Hi friends, this is the Haier fully automatic washing machine, top load. And the problem with this machine is the water from the tap is not entering the tub here. Like when we switch it on and we turn it on here, the water that should be coming out from this end is not coming out. So what could be the causes? We will look into this now. Safety is very important because you are working with electricity, so ensure you are well insulated. You're wearing slippers or shoes, whatever. Make sure the electrical connections are off when you are near the wires. Take safety very, very seriously. First thing we need to do is we need to switch off the water supply here. There are two nuts at the back of this panel which I have already removed, and we need to remove this as well, and then we'll remove this panel and then see further. This panel is out. Okay, so the water from the tap goes into this pipe and comes here into the inlet valve solenoid of the washing machine. The first thing we need to check is whether this solenoid is receiving the required current, and as you can see it is AC. I wonder if you can see it, it is AC 220 volts. So we need to check if there is current here. So the first thing we need to do is remove this and then remove this, and then we'll see. We have to first see whether the solenoid is getting the electrical supply. So for that we need to remove these connectors here from the solenoid, and then we'll take it further. The supply of this solenoid is 222 volts AC. So now to check whether the solenoid is getting the required voltage, I have my voltmeter. So I've set it to AC. The solenoid is AC as you have seen, and what we will do is we'll put one probe here. Be very careful, this is electricity here and here, and as you can see there is a supply of 240 volts coming to the solenoid, so the electrical supply is there. The problem now is with the solenoid. We'll have to check that. So there could be two faults in this. It could be a mechanical fault with the gasket inside, the rubber gasket inside, or it could be an electrical fault with the coil of the solenoid. We can check the working of the solenoid by using a multimeter. I put it in ohms and we'll check for resistance. There is no reading, so this coil is not working. The way of checking it is you can give it a direct supply of AC 220 volts. This is AC 220. And please make sure you read the voltage of your solenoid. It could be some other voltage, it could be DC volts, so ensure you know what the voltage input is of the solenoid before you do this. Make sure it is AC 220 volts when you do this. So I've attached the wires, as you can see. I've turned the tap on and I'm now switching it on here. It's not working. The solenoid coil is not working properly, and we have to get a new solenoid here. This is a new water inlet valve solenoid of the washing machine, and when we check the resistance with a multimeter and we put the leads on these two, you will see there is some resistance showing, so this is okay. Before installing it, you can test the solenoid by attaching the water pipe here, and the electricity is direct. It is 220 volts because the solenoid is 220 volts. Ensure you are applying the right voltage. So I've turned the tap on and I'll just switch it on, and as you can see it is throwing water, so this solenoid is fine. Assemble everything. I've turned the tap on. I've put this pipe back where it belongs. Now I will just turn on the machine, give it a program normal, and start and see whether it's working or not. The machine is calculating the weight of whatever might be inside it. And as you can see, the water is coming out, so this is working now. This is how to diagnose this water inlet valve solenoid and find out whether there's an electric problem or a mechanical problem. For those who are interested in knowing how this actually works, you please keep watching the remaining of the video, and if you're not, then thank you very much for your time, and Like I said, this is electricity you are dealing with, so be very careful when you're working around electricity. Thank you. This is the water inlet valve solenoid of the washing machine. It is, as you can probably see, 220 volts, and I will show you the mechanism of how it works. And two type of problems can occur in this solenoid. It could be an electrical problem here. The solenoid coil might get damaged and it might not work, or you might have a mechanical issue with the valves here inside, the rubber gasket inside. To test it whether it is electrically functioning or not, I've taken a multimeter and put it on ohms, and I'll check for resistance here. As you can see on the multimeter, there is no reading whatsoever. So this solenoid valve is electrically not functioning. Now just to give you a brief of how this solenoid works, the main tap water comes through this chamber, goes inside, and when the solenoid is activated, the water comes out from this end and goes into the wash tub of the machine. And I'll just open it and show you how the internals of this solenoid work. So that's out. There are actually 4 screws. I had already removed 2 of them. So this is it. Let's start with this here. So the water comes from this, the tap water goes here, it goes into this chamber, and because of this rubber gasket, the water is prevented from coming out from this end. And how that is maintained is, there is a plunger here in this solenoid, and it has a rubber part in the front, and it basically comes in, sits here and closes this gasket, ensuring that the water does not come out from this inlet. And now when we remove this rubber gasket here, so the water goes from here and it enters this chamber here, and it is prevented from entering this hole because of this rubber gasket here. Now if you can see, there is a hole in the middle and a hole in the side. You can see this here and here side. So when this rubber gasket is in a closed position, when the machine is not working but the tap is still on, so water will enter this chamber and come out that small hole on the side of this and fill up the rear part of this chamber, and due to equal pressure of water from inside and outside and the action of this plunger, which will keep pushing this towards in the forward direction, the water is prevented from coming out this end when there is no washing activity taking place in your washing machine. But when you are using the washing machine and the solenoid is required to function, what actually happens is water comes from this tap, it fills up here, the solenoid gets activated and it is pushed backwards. The solenoid basically, if I can show you this way, in a closed position, this is the thing. So when water comes here, it remains here, it does not come out from this end. But when the solenoid is activated, this moves backwards and it allows the water from this chamber to get into this outlet and into the drum of the washing machine. Now if your solenoid is electrically working, if you've checked it with your multimeter and this is working, and it might be a mechanical problem, so what you could do is check for any debris that might be clogging up these 2 holes here. Clean up any debris that might have been trapped within this rubber gasket, and if you have silicone grease, just use silicone grease, don't use any other grease. Then grease this gasket up, it will keep it supple and in a good working condition. And the other thing you need to do is you need to take this plunger out, and if there is any hardness that is stuck to it, you need to clean that as well. Keep this clean the whole thing and put it back in. Make sure that this rubber part is facing you, because if you put it upside down, then it will be unable to close this hole here, and you'll have all sorts of problems with water leaking. So this is how it works mechanically.